my workshop, we work a few hours on appreciation, and we do exactly what you did. Each person writes in at the beginning the date, they sign, and their name, and they write their own name on the envelope. And then they put the envelope to the right, and they get another envelope with the name of another person.
Yeah.
And then they write for that person everything that they can about how much they're appreciating. Not only one thing, as many as possible. And when they receive it, I ask them two questions. One question is, how do you feel? And the second question is, what surprised you? Nina, you would be amazed how many people in the world are totally surprised that other people appreciate them. They never knew how much people appreciate them. They thought that they are transparent. And it's wrong, because people do appreciate people.
Welcome to the Manage Self, Lead Others Leadership podcast with Nina Sunday for experienced and aspiring people managers. This show will help you explore ways to become a more intentional leader. Each episode, host Nina Sunday speaks with some of the brightest business minds on the planet who share a passion to elevate and transform team culture. Workplace culture hides in plain sight. Is yours flourishing? Join the movement to make your workplace a better place to work. Are you ready? Because it's time to manage self, lead others.
Appreciation. Leaders who harness the essence of appreciation are rewarded with higher engagement and trust. My name is Nina Sunday, host of Manage Self, Lead Others podcast. My guest today is an inspirer, writer, humorist, CSP, and TEDx speaker. A former director of marketing and sales of 2 IT companies, with experience as a diplomat and in venture capital, Avi Liran has spent a decade researching appreciation. Watch out for his book coming out soon. Avi Liran is a super optimist, believing in igniting inner joy. Fascinated by the power of positivity and ability of words and tone to transform people's lives and experiences, welcome Avi Liran.
All right, there's 5 levels of appreciations that I put in my keynote. Actually, there are more. A huge chapter in my book, or probably a small book, is appreciation. The first thing that people make a mistake with is the golden rule. We say that we should love other people as we love ourselves. Now, here is a problem. Let's start with something very, very simple. Nina, let's say that I love peanut butter, and I buy for you $200 worth of the best peanut butter in the world, and you happen to be allergic to peanut butter, and I give it to you with a hell of a lot of a good intention. And the minute you take a bite, maybe I could be responsible for, God forbid, for your death, all right? So the assumption that what other people need, I know because that's how I want it to be, is a very harsh one. So what you did with your friends, you went for tea, and then you talk to them, so you understand what they need. And that's basically how the best leaders have at least 1 hour with a direct report a week.
Yeah.
They have at least 1 hour, probably lunch, with their one down once a month. So if they know what's happening, by the way, everybody knows if you want to deliver delightful customer experience, like the person that you interviewed before, you need to go to the trenches. You need to go and understand what is the experience that they have. Not only the experience that the customer have, but what is the experience that your employees have.
Yeah.
Now, how does the employee feel unappreciated? Imagine that you ask the employee to do the best to serve the customers, and they find a problem that inherently happens again and again and again.
Yeah.
And they go back and tell you, we have to fix that because I apologize, I compensate, but we have to fix that. If you don't fix that, they feel totally demotivated because they're all the time coming back to the same problem. And that is out of appreciation, it's called fix it fast.
Right.
So the second level of appreciation actually is learn what makes them feel delighted.
Yeah.
Fix what is not delighting.
Well,
The third,
that I would say that fixing the friction with customer interaction and customer frustration has to be a given, because then you can move to delight. And then let's hear what the third one is.
yes, and I think other people than me said it years before I was born, that employees are our customers, and they pay us not in currency, but they pay us in their engagement, with enthusiasm, with their ideas to go and deliver superior customer experience. So the third level comes with a story.
Go. Great.
So we had an intern, and the intern name was Brian. And Brian is an amazing gentleman. But what I do, every morning, I have a morning walk, and I invite people to walk with me.
Yeah.
I learned it, by the way, from a great speaker, Ron Kaufman. And what Ron Kaufman does, he also buys them breakfast. So I learned that too. Be generous. And during the walk, I realized that Brian, my intern, loves motorsport. He wanted to be an F1 driver, but he did not have enough money as his family. It takes millions of dollars to become an F1 driver. I didn't know that.
Right.
But he was an F4 driver.
Fine.
And I happen to know the karting F4 champion in Singapore. So I invited him for lunch and made him meet with Brian. And he invited Brian to his team, tested him. And a few months later, Brian won 3.
Oh.
And the way to delight, the third level, is to surprise. Yeah. So he brought his father came from France, his girlfriend came from Indonesia, and you should see his face.
Yeah.
And do you think he would have been motivated after that?
Absolutely. And not only that, you've mentored Brian in a way that improves his entire life, the trajectory of his life. And that's a wonderful thing that you can do as an employer, is to build the capability, and in a way that actually gives them a more positive future. So that's a beautiful thing you did there, Avi.
Fourth level also comes with a story. And do you know Indra Nooy? She used to be the CEO of PepsiCo. And when she got nominated, she shares the story that she went to India to her mom. Her mom made a reception, and people came, shook hands with Indra, congratulations. And then they went to speak to her mom. You should be so proud of your daughter. It's amazing what she did for India. With that observation, she went back and she decided she would write a personal letter, handwritten, to each one of the parents of her direct reports, and tell them what is the impact that they have on business. In her tenure in PepsiCo, she written more than 400 such letters. And she jokes that one of the guys came and said, my dad made a copy of it and gave to each one of the neighbors and say, this is what the CEO of PepsiCo thinks about my son.
Oh.
But the idea of the combination of written appreciation that is genuine and tells about the impact that the person has on the company is the fourth level.
That is a beautiful thing that a leader can do for someone. And you said there were 5 levels.
Yes. So what is the opposite of surprise?
Let's pause for a moment while I tell you about Apex Trader Funding, helping futures traders execute entries and exits with precision. Apex Trader Funding educates people in what is a futures contract, how to make money and hopefully avoid losing money with a futures contract. How does a trade happen? different markets to trade, how to make the decision to trade. To find out how it all works, listen to episode 106 of Manage Self Lead Others podcast, my conversation with Daryl Martin of apextraderfunding.com. Here's the disclaimer. You have to put in the learning time to really know what you're doing, to manage risk and manage profit, to know when to withdraw your profits and invest them elsewhere. How to start? Go to the FAQ tab at apextraderfunding.com. Follow the links to do the masterclasses with Apex Investing Institute. And now here's the promo code. When you are ready to apply to get started with funded trading with apextraderfunding.com, use my code Nina Sunday for the listener discount of 25% to 50% off. Now back to the conversation.
So what is the opposite of surprise?
Predictability.
Exactly. So what you need to do is to create predictability in your appreciation. So the story, again, a story, well, I'm so lucky. One of the top leaders in hospitality in the world, we had some great work together and he mentored me. His name is Chip Conley. He founded and was a CEO of Joie de Vivre Hotels. He created 53 hotels, boutique hotels, and they were bought by Hyatt. And later on, he was the chief hospitality officer of Airbnb. He taught them everything about hospitality.
I see.
And amazing human being. And he shared that during the dot-com and September 11, when occupancy went down from the 80s and 90s into the 20s, 15, 10, devastating. What he did, he decided that they're going to open the day with a positive news.
Right.
And he asked each one of the directors to go and to find a good story from their property. And we start the daily meeting with that story.
Right.
One of the story was about Billy, the bellboy, who went in Hotel Vitali all the way up and down 9, 8, 7, 6 floors because the elevator was broken during the weekend. And when the GM shared that story, everybody applauded. And then the CIO was tasked to go to Hotel Vitali and tell him how greatly he was appreciated during the morning meeting and give him a voucher for him and his family in another hotel in the chain. Now, let's unpack that. What happened was everybody had to notice. You have to go scouting not only what doesn't work, but figure out how to catch people doing the right thing, catch them, and tell them on the spot. All right? The second thing was the cross-pollination between departments, CIO, here. So everybody will understand, and that creates greater collaboration. There's so much more that I can tell you about appreciation, but that will take more of the time. I'm actually doing a really big research on that, learning that I don't know and learning a lot of stories. It will come in my book.
That's lovely, Avi. Now, how can listeners share their stories with you? Do you have any capacity for that? Is that part of your research at all, or is there any way that listeners can contribute?
Absolutely. And I also can give you later a code or a web address where they can download the 12 ways that you could become more appreciative leader. And I'm collecting stories about appreciation at work.
That is so lovely. That'll definitely be in the show notes, and anybody can get that. Can I share with you a story that I remember from? It was a Christmas lunch that we did for my team of 6.
Go ahead, please.
I don't know. I must have read this little, tactic somewhere. But what I got some different coloured paper from the paper stock, and I just got everybody to take a different color, and then I invited them to write at the top something I appreciate about and their name. So we had Fiona, and we had Leonie, and we had Tom, and we had different people. And so something I appreciate about Mandy is ... And then they would then hand it to the next person. So it went round in the circle. So they would have received something I appreciate about Fiona is, and then they would write something and then pass it on. So by the end, each sheet of paper had gone round all 6 people, and they each had 5 comments from the others. And I'm here to tell you that my office manager, who was there that day, when we moved office twice, because she was with me for 17 years, that sheet of paper stood up, was blue tacked behind her desk at 2 different office locations. She really relished it, and I'm sure everybody else did too, and I relished mine.
I don't like your story.
Why don't you like it?
I love it.
Oh, you're funny.
So what would be a workplace when people surprise you with things that you didn't anticipate that they do because they are so self-motivated and passionate about your business? So you can come to them and say, I don't like it. I love it. And my team already knows, my team already knows, hey, boss, you're not going to like this one. And if that's a language at your workplace, people are know that you're going to appreciate. It's a condition that I don't want to work in I like it place. I want to work it with love.
Oh, that is so lovely. Yes.
Your story is beautiful because what I do, let me see if I have it right here.
Oh, yes.
So here is the story about this envelope.
Yeah.
All right. When you open this envelope, each one of the participants get this envelope, and they get 4 cards. 4 cards.
Right.
And each card basically says,
my delightful rainy days. Right.
Appreciation notes.
Right.
Now, the story, when I was a child, I heard the story about a soldier that died in Vietnam War, and regretfully, the coffin went the way to his mom's home, and the mom invited his 5th grade teacher to the, I don't know whether you call it gathering, where people bring the food and
sometimes they call it the wake or memorial.
The wake, or we Jews call it Shiva.
Yeah.
And when she came, the mother come to embrace her, gave her a hug, and gave her an envelope. And she said, this envelope, you instructed in grade 5, before your time, my son was introverted. And he was very shy without friends. And you ask everyone in the class to put a note with the name of everyone in the class and what do they like about that person.
Right.
From the day that my son received it, he started to open up. He started to realize that he actually was appreciated, and there's some good things that other people see in him. And this envelope escorted him for the rest of his life. When he had troubles in college, he would read these notes. And actually, when he sent me letters from Vietnam, he told me, Mom, at a difficult time, I'm looking at this. And that's why I called it Rainy Days Note. And in my workshop, we work a few hours on appreciation, and we do exactly what you did. Each person writes in at the beginning the date, they sign, and their name, and they write their own name on the envelope. And then they put the envelope to the right, and they get another envelope with the name of another person.
Yeah.
And then they write for that person everything that they can about how much they're appreciating. Not only one thing, as many as possible. And when they receive it, I ask them 2 questions. One question is, how do you feel? And the second question is, what surprised you? Nina, you would be amazed how many people in the world are totally surprised that other people appreciate them. They never knew how much people appreciate them. They thought that they are transparent. And it's wrong because people do appreciate people.
It's funny that we don't praise people enough. We don't show that we appreciate them enough. We might say thank you, but that's just politeness, or people perceive it as just politeness. But to even add, like, thank you for doing that, what it meant was I was able to ... So I think there's a thing called the language of positive regard, where you go the extra mile and say a little bit more than just thank you. You give them what that meant to me was I was able to, and whatever was the benefit. So it's all
That's
part
what
of
Indra
this.
Nooyi said. So that's a fourth level, the impact. If you make sure that people understand the impact. Now, every appreciation could be a learning opportunity, because if you're a great leader, when somebody does something great, you unpack what was great for you. And by that, they understand, when I do this, it's going to be great. Now there's an opportunity for a coaching moment, because we always can do better. And you could help them stretch. And then you can say, hey, I have an idea. You did great. Do you want to go to the next level? They will always say yes. And then you could give them a little bit more direction where the next place should or could be, and how it's going to contribute to their growth.
Beautiful.
Now, appreciation is known to be one of the most powerful, efficient, cost-efficient ways to ignite intrinsic motivation. Because when that person feels, okay, I'm appreciated, I'm making an impact, we can do even more.
Yeah.
It's fuel.
That's wonderful, Avi. Do you call yourself the Chief Delight Officer, or a name like that?
Yes, and I believe that there are 8 billion of us. Everyone is a Chief Delighting Officer. Chief Delighting Officer is the mindset, is, do you go out of life in order to delight yourself and others? It has to start inside. You cannot go and be crumbled inside and really sustainably delight others. It's a choice. If your North Star is the habit of making positive choices to contribute to others, you're going to be delighting. And when there's a lot of power, and I'm doing it because it's good for me. How we really feel is the amount of energy that will evaporate from us at the end of the day. But what if I'm going to tell you 2 words that if I'm going to tell them, you're always going to be authentic.
Yes.
And you're always going to be uplifting.
Yeah.
Would you want to learn these 2 words?
Absolutely. I can't wait.
Okay, so the way to learn it is, I will need you to imagine in a minute from now, when we wake up like with horse blinders. We only see what did not happen yet. The problems, the errands, the issues, the gossip, everything that did not happen yet. And that takes almost 100% of our attention. Is this life? Now, let's make an exercise. Put your hands like this. And every time you're going to say yes, you put them 1 inch to the side and 1 inch up.
Yeah, okay.
Would you wake up on a comfortable bed?
Yes.
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 And 1 inch up, all right? 1 to the side, 1 inch, 1 up. Right. You know that more than 2 billion people did not. Do you have running water?
Yes.
Yes. Do you know that 770 million people need to walk more than a kilometer to get running water? Are you living in a safe country?
Yes.
Yes. Do you have a job that you like?
Yes.
Yes. Can you support yourself?
Yes.
Yes. Do you have people that you love and they love you?
Yes.
Yes. And the list goes on. But this is not reality. This is reality. This is the 10% that did not happen yet.
Right.
But if you have all this, tell me, are you blessed? comparing to other 7.7 billion people.
Oh, I'm very blessed. In fact, we Australians say we won the lottery.
And if you're blessed, can you be grateful?
I'm very
So ask me, Avi, how do you feel on a bad day?
Avi, how do you feel on a bad day?
Blessed and grateful and sad. Blessed and grateful and angry. Blessed and grateful, and it's not my day, don't try me. Blessed and grateful and pissed off. Whatever it is, I can do that, and I could understand that I have a terrible 10%. So I start my day with 90.
Yes.
And what's gonna change is a 10% of the day. This 10% will change. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but the 90% that I have is fabulous. And knowing that could be authentic. Now, you're going to find 4 types of people when you're going to answer this question. First one, think that you became religious. The second one will be very curious. They want to hear more. The third one wouldn't care less. But the fourth one is the most important one.
Yeah.
Because these guys will put their eyes down, just like me about 15 years ago when my marriage broke, when everything was haywire, and I was sick, physically, emotionally, depressed. And when somebody had such great time, I would look down and say, I wish I was them. And these people that you're going to see that put their heads down and the eyes down, they need you to be there for them and take them for coffee, take them for lunch, and know that these people need encouragement. And you have the power, being and knowing that you're blessed and grateful, to be there for them. So slowly, they could really get to have the blinders out. And in life, we have waves. One time we're up, one time we're down. When we are down, our responsibility is to seek help and not be shy to take it. But when we are up, our responsibility is to uplift, but not uplifting by taking the hand down. Because one lesson that I learned during what adversity that I had is that I was so low that coming from up and telling me you can't love anybody if you don't love yourself, that was the wrong thing to say.
Yeah.
But when we were kids, we were putting our hands like this so somebody could put the dirty foot on our hands and then put the other dirty foot on our shoulder and sneak into the soccer game. That's how you help people. You go down and you use that. And this is our responsibility. Because we are blessed, because we are grateful, we can easily be chief delighting officers and uplift anyone, but not from up, from down.
Oh, Avi, that is so beautiful. Please tell us your website and how people can find you, apart from being on LinkedIn, of course.
aviliran.com or deliveringdelight.com.
Deliveringdelight.com. And what was the first one? Avi
Liran.
Oh, just your name, Avi Liran. Yeah, lovely. Okay, well, thank you, Avi. It's been a pleasure talking with you. This episode, we've been speaking with Avi Liran on the Manage Self, Lead Others podcast, where we have conversations to share insights on how to elevate and transform team culture. I'm your host, Nina Sunday, and if you like the podcast, connect with me on LinkedIn, tell me what you think, you can suggest a guest. You can catch the video version on Spotify and YouTube. Thank you for listening. Until next time, enjoy good things.
Nina Sunday is on a mission to help leaders transform culture. To book Nina Sunday CSP to speak at your conference, visit ninasunday.com to request a proposal. Nina travels from Brisbane, Australia for in-person presentations Australia-wide. Twice certified virtual presenter, Nina Sunday presents virtually, globally, for any time zone.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.